So throughout this entire module, we've been asking the exact same question over and over again. What are and how can they be threatened? All of this is to wrap up what we're about to do. So every single one of us chose a different event. Mine is the fire. Well, there was a right that was threatened. It was the right to not be tortured in any way. It's also the right to have a home, right? Because in the end, what did I end up losing? My house. Or Esperanza lost her house. So you're going to be creating what is called a director's note. We're going to be looking at an example, and then after we're done looking at an example and analyzing it, you and your partner will be creating your own. Okay? So as always, we start off with just taking notes, and then we take those notes and form it into 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs. Okay? Are we good so far? I'm going to be reading the director's note. This is your example. So if at any point in time you get confused whenever you start your own work, what is your guide? Page 132. Got it good? Okay. These monologues show the reaction of Esperanza, her mother Ramona, her grandmother Abuelita, and her servant Miguel to the loss of their home. In the middle of the night, they woke to find Las Ranchas de las Rosas burning down. Esperanza's uncles have set the fire to destroy Ramona's house. They have left the family homeless and the servants with no place to work. The fire violated the human rights of Esperanza and her family and reminds us of similar challenges many people face today. What they did on the first paragraph was they gave us what is called the gist of the event. So paragraph 1 is just the gist of an event. Yes. Yes. Huh? Yes. Good point. Okay, so whenever you start taking notes, your first paragraph is just going to be talking about what? The gist of the event. So I told you the characters' names, and then I told you what happened. They lost the loss of their home. Sure. In the middle of the night, they wake to find Las Ranchas de las Rosas burning down. Again, they're referring back to my event, which is that the house was burnt down. Fire destroyed Ramona's house. And then, because it destroyed their house, it left them what? Homeless, and the servants with no place to work. Okay, so they lost their property and they lost their jobs. Let's move to the next one. Setting fire to Esperanza's home is a violation of Part 2 of Article 17 of the UDHR, which says no one shall be arbitrarily deprived of this property. What did they end up doing with this article? What did they do accurately? They quoted the article. So right here, this next one, you're going to quote the article of the UDHR. Very good. Of the UDHR. They're going to quote the article of the UDHR. This means no one should take something, like another person's home, from them without a good reason. The uncles unfairly took away Esperanza's home and all that she had owned. When Esperanza opened up a charred trunk after the fire, she realized that there was nothing left inside for some day. Page 44. So not only did they quote from the UDHR, they actually quoted from where? The text, which is our Esperanza Rising is our book. They quoted from the book. So on this side, so they started off with quoting from the UDHR, and then they ended it with quoting from the book. If you notice, what they did was they quoted the actual sentence that proved that something was taken away. Without her home and property, her future became scary and uncertain. Giving y'all a minute to annotate. I'm listening. Do you have a question about this? Just leave it open. Okay, so just to reiterate, we started off with our first paragraph being just the gist of the event. We're explaining the characters involved and what happened, okay? The second part is you quote the article of the UDHR. So you're quoting the right that was taken away. They took her home away. So what they did was they took the UDHR and they proved it. They used quotations around the exact phrase of the right that was challenged. And then they backed it up by proving that that right was taken away by quoting an example from the book. They said was left inside for nothing. There was nothing left inside for someday. They had no more property because it got burnt down. Are we good so far? Yes, sir. I'm sure the horses have lived, but the stable was pretty much, well, I don't know if they have stable ever. It never did say, yeah. The horses were acting out, remember, because they were being stirred up by the fire. Yeah, they were scared.
They ran away.
Yeah. And then today many people face similar challenges. Their homes and other property are not safe because of war, crime, or violence. Around the world, war has driven people out of their homes. Their property has been destroyed by bombings and fire. Like Esperanza's, their future is frightening and uncertain. So with this one, they just connected it to real life. So let's go over another example. Let's talk about Mama being forced to marry T.O. Lewis. Well, that goes against, I think was it the 16th?
Yeah.
Was it 16? I'll turn it back there. Yeah, Article 16, which says we have the right to marry who we want to so long as both parties are consenting. In real life, today, do we have that right? Yes, we do. We do. My mom's right was taken away whenever she first got married because that was an arranged marriage and that wasn't something that she wanted for herself. But today, do we hear a lot about arranged marriages? No, it's not as common as back in the day because now we have that right and no one can take that away from us. So this fourth paragraph, whenever you start your writing, you're just going to connect it to what's happening today. Are we okay so far? Okay. Esperanza Rising is a fictional story set long ago, but thinking about events like this one reminds us that people in the real world today still face the same human rights challenges. Again, this is another sentence to connect your articles to what's happening today. Okay, this is the model. You can refer back to this over and over again. You're going to just be taking notes today, and then you're going to be writing out a similar draft to back up your thoughts. So turn to the next page, page 133. What page? Please write your name. I'm about to break you guys back up into your partner session. I'm going to quickly go over this, and then it will be your work time. I need your eyes on my board. I know Daniel's looking. Thank you, Gabby and Chris. Thank you, JT. Okay, So the very first thing you're going to be working on is your focus statement. Your focus statement is just telling me that someone's right was threatened. Okay, and it deals with your event. So the right that was threatened in mine was that Mama lost her property. Okay, so you're just going to tell me what right was threatened. You're going to tell me your sources. You only have 2 sources. The first source is page 18, which is your UDHR, and then your second source is, where are you going to get your book? Very good. So you're going to tell me what 2 sources did you use. Am I moving too fast?
No, you were right.
And then you're going to come up with a summary. This tells you what you're supposed to be working with your group. You're going to describe the characters in the situation. That, remember, that's the first paragraph. It's basically the gist of the event, like JT had said earlier. And then you're going to tell me what human right was threatened. So what page can you look at for the human right that was threatened?
18.
Page 18. You're going to do the UDHR connection. What article? Again, that's going to be what page?
18.
Page 18. Matter of fact, this whole thing ties into what page?
18.
Page 18. Turn to the next page. Where it says quote, you have to have a quote from the UDHR and a quote from Esperanza. So this ties back into the example that I showed you. Remember right here? They quoted from the article. They said Article 17 says no one shall be. And they just copied down the sentence that ties into that. Okay? And then they backed it up with the text. They said on page 44, there was nothing left for them. Their property was burnt to the ground. And then this right here is your opinion. The impact today, that's your opinion. You're connecting this to the real world. So you and your partner can talk about what right is being threatened. So like we said earlier, we talked about marriage. We said that for the most part, everyone has the same right. And especially in the United States, we get to choose who we want to marry. Now, I will tell you in other countries, there still could be arranged marriages. So that shows that maybe in some countries, Article 16 is still being threatened. So this right here, this last part where it says impact today and reflection, those are your words. Okay? So I'm going to stop. You're going to be on your own. I'm going to circulate and guide your thinking. Please get with your partner if you need to. If you would like to be on your own to do this, this is fine. You may begin.